What's up, guys? In this video, we're going to be doing a fun little exercise with Serum, and we're going to start off with a saw wave. I'm going to play that right now. Right, and this is our saw wave here. It's also in our signal analyzer. It is a saw uh, or sawtooth because it looks like, a sawtooth that you'd use to cut wood. It also has a lot of harmonics. Each one of these is a harmonic. And then we have our fundamental right here. This is like where the pitch would be, the main pitch. And as an example, we'll go to sine. And a sine wave has a fundamental and no harmonics. So a saw wave is very useful in a lot of synthesis because it has so many harmonics. You can filter and shape it to how you want, essentially. And that's why when you hit your init preset, there is a saw wave. All right, so let's load that back up. Right, you'll notice that there's, again, the fundamental and then all these harmonics. We're going to take the fundamental out. We're going to strip it out. And how we're going to do that is we have our waveform right here. I'm going to map that to this FFT, and this basically is a bunch of sine waves. If you put a bunch of sine waves together, you can create any sound you'd like. And if you just have, say, this bin right here, you will have, I'll show you. If you have this bin right here, I'll just rescan that in. You have no harmonics. There's nothing, right? But if you start drawing them in, oops, I'll do this. The wave shape changes, right? And then you can do all sorts of cool stuff. Anyway, we're going to go back to our init preset. We're going to have the saw back in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out that fundamental. I'm going to rescan that in. I'm just going to take it out. And that's what it looks like. And it will look like that now. There's no more fundamental here. We can still discern what the pitch is because we can kind of guess by listening to the harmonics. And this is basically how Wave's max bass works. It'll create upper harmonics for a bass line that isn't there. And it's really creative. So we have this now. This doesn't look like a saw wave. But here's the fun part. What I'm going to do is add in another oscillator. Add in a sine to effectively add the sine wave back in, to add the fundamental back in. I'm gonna unfreeze that. That doesn't look like it at all. Because what's really important is you have these phase markers. So like you add a bunch of saws together, then you can adjust the phase. Some phase cancels other parts of sine waves out and stuff like that. It's kind of complicated. That's for a different video. But yeah, we need to adjust the phase and make sure it's not random. So turn the random down to 0 and adjust the phase of the sine wave. Notice it moving down here. Check out this window. We're changing the phase, the start-stop time of the sine wave in relation to the saw with a missing fundamental. We're going to turn it into a saw, essentially. Right? Now, this is an analog-y kind of saw. It's very rounded. And this is a way to get like an analog saw kind of shape. Analog things are rounded because of just electricity and capacitors. They don't discharge immediately. It takes a little bit of time relative to, milliseconds and nanoseconds. So what I want to do is I want to adjust the amplitude of this sine wave to turn this into the saw. Right? So we have our saw again. And just to prove it, I can turn off oscillator B. And it goes back to that glitchy kind of, what should I call it, beforehand. But if I turn that back on, also notice we have our fundamental again. So I'll just turn the oscillator B on and off, and you can see the fundamental disappear and reappear. Anyway, hope that was educational and fun. It was fun for me. Yeah, take care and have a good one.